With the COVID-19 pandemic raging all over the world, how are churches in the Central Conferences responding to the cancellation of worship services during Sundays and the need to still be church during this time? Hi there, I am Mighty Racing. I am the Director of Central Conference Relationships at Discipleship Ministries. And welcome to the Global Conversations on Discipleship podcast. This is the podcast where I have a chat with ministry leaders of the United Methodist Church from all over the world, from the Central Conferences. And I ask them about their context and how discipleship and evangelism and spiritual formation happen in their own setting. And in this series of videos, I am going to sit down with various leaders from the Central Conferences and asking them about how is the COVID-19 pandemic affecting them? And more importantly, how are they responding and continuing to be the people of God, to be a community of faith, even in these trying times? In the following video, I have a chat with Ms. Early Pasion Bautista, who is the Publishing Coordinator of Discipleship Resources Philippines. And DRP, the Discipleship Resources Philippines, is a partner of Discipleship Ministries under the Discipleship Resources International Project. And we talk about the ways that her church is responding to the challenges of these times and how Discipleship Resources Philippines is providing some of the much needed worship and liturgical resources for families and churches in the Philippines.
The Sunday before the announcement of the enhanced community quarantine, some local churches outside of Metro Manila already started canceling their worship services. So that was actually, personally, Saturday, we were still in church practicing for the choir. Then before we went home at around 5 o'clock in the afternoon, our pastor called and said the worship is canceled tomorrow because the local officials in my community told us that there was a family who came from Italy, to which Italy is like the biggest hit in the COVID-19 situation. So the barangay immediately called for a lockdown. So immediately, the following Sunday, we weren't able to go to church anymore. So that was not prepared for. So, like,
when
how
was
could
this
you
early?
even
Can you refresh us the date when this happened? Was this late March?
March 15.
Oh, okay.
Because enhanced community quarantine was declared for the entire Luzon March 16. Monday. It was on a Monday. So the Sunday before that, some local churches, even outside of Manila, already canceled their worship services. It was actually the Roman Catholic Church immediately issued like diocesan notice or advisory. Then for our district, RDS issued a memo that says, let's observe a less than 50 congregation for that Sunday. But then that happened, like immediately, like at 6 o'clock, we will decide, there will no longer be a service tomorrow.
So since the worship services are canceled, how are the church members connecting with each other, and how is the church helping the members care for their faith and spiritual lives?
In our church, the first Sunday that we canceled worship, we asked our pastor to just record the sermon and send it to us. So that actually happened. Most of our members, we invited them to worship online through the live streaming of Central Church in Manila or other churches that we know who are that are in Manila, because in Manila it was a planned Sunday because quarantine in Manila was declared like Wednesday, and quarantine in Luzon, the entire Luzon island, declared on the following Monday. So their worship services was planned ahead of us. So for us on the first Sunday, that was what we did. Then for the following week, so even small groups were canceled, other meetings, ministries were canceled. Our pastor send us like a prayer list every day and check on every family at least every day through Facebook Messenger or text. Then the following Sunday, we planned not to live stream because first and foremost, our local church has no capacity to do it. And because also members in our local church come from different municipality. So even our pastor come from a different municipality going to church. So we did not plan any live streaming, but we actually connected through Facebook Messenger. So our worship since March 22 is already through Facebook Messenger. So every family, it's a good thing because my local church is composed of few families. So we can make use of Messenger because that's the easiest application that we could do. We cannot do Zoom because of signal issues. Mm-hmm. So we do Messenger, and one compound per family, like the extended family. So they come together in one house and have one phone with them. So we conduct the services. So that's how we connect in our regular services. Our cell groups goes through Messenger also. So there, my concern is actually for our outreach ministries. Mm-hmm. Our outreach ministries are located in municipality and barangays that have very low signal, even cellular signal. So it's very difficult to communicate. So sometimes when maybe one or two of them goes to the market to buy their food, they can connect and say, we're okay, we're fine. And that's all that we could get. So I've been actually trying to connect with other pastors in our annual conference and also other lay members, asking them how they are doing. To some, worship services are totally canceled and there's not even a connection. Like, it's just nothing. So their members sick on their own about how they will be able to feed themselves spiritually, and of course the Sunday routine of going to church. So some resort to live streaming, some are just chatting among themselves, but without the involvement of the pastor. On the other hand, other local churches have make use of their lay servant ministers to go around in the family compounds, of course, practicing social distancing. So they are doing that. The main thing is just not to gather the entire congregation in the local church. So they could go in like one family compound to another.
If I could just highlight some of what you said, is that in some places technology is an issue, and the people from the far-flung areas would just connect with other church members and their pastors when they are in town shopping for their food. and the family gathering happens, and sometimes with the lay servant ministers coming and ministering with them while practicing social.
Just one point. Discipleship ministries actually kind of step up during this time for 3 Sundays now. We have provided liturgical guides in Ilocano and Tagalog for family worship. So I know it's been helpful to a lot of families, the Ilocano speaking congregations, because these are the congregations, these are the families who are located in the low technology, low signal areas. So for some families, they download our liturgical resources and do their family gathering. Some local churches have their pastor record the sermon and just pick up from their phones or from their TVs on the time when they are worshiping. Others have their parents actually lead the worship. So, challenges are addressed in a very different levels depending to where your local church or your community is located. So we are happy at Discipleship Resources Philippines that we were able to look into the needs of the families or of the local churches who are not as technologically connected compared to the people in Metro Manila. For the family Sunday worship, they are formatted in a mobile phone friendly format. So they don't have to download a document or a PDF in their phones to look at their liturgy. So
that makes sense.
It's mobile phone format. But for the Holy Week liturgy, since they are so long, we decided to put it in Word and have the pastor actually encourage the pastors to print them and go house to house to distribute the liturgy to where the family could do their love feast, the family could do their 7 last words, or the family could celebrate Easter on their own, but with the same liturgy, the same context.
That sounds exciting and amazing. That in the midst of this COVID-19 pandemic, is that families of United Methodists are finding ways to worship and gather and still nurture their spiritual lives at their home because of the limitations of being able to gather together in the church building. Early, thank you so much, and I hope you stay healthy and safe. Prayers for you and your family and for our church in the Philippines.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for this opportunity of sharing.
This podcast has been a production of Discipleship Ministries, an agency of the United Methodist Church. Visit all our podcasts at podcasts.umcdiscipleship.org.